Greetings. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Mushtaq Memon, Professor Emeritus from Washington State University. Today's video is focused on the controversy about consumption of raw milk. I saw this news article last week which says demand for raw milk grows despite risks. Then this article goes on and continues that many people mistakenly believe that the raw milk is superior to pasteurized milk, and the dairies that sell it say they take steps to ensure its safety. But raw milk contains deadly E. coli, listeria, and salmonella bacteria, and potentially H5N1 influenza virus. So before we talk about the controversy, let's talk about the qualities of milk. Milk contains 18 out of 22 essential nutrients. And the two big ones are the availability of protein and calcium in the milk. So whether it's raw milk or pasteurized milk has these nutrients. So the raw milk obviously is after collecting milk from cows. It is chilled. So then this cold milk is packaged and then sold to consumers. Whereas in the pasteurized milk situation, after milk is collected from these dairy cows, it is again chilled, and this cold milk is then transported in very large trucks, which are refrigerated, to the pasteurization plant or milk plants, where the milk is tested for its quality and then pasteurized. Now, what are the quality testing? There are two big things which happen there. One is the looking for antibiotics residues, and also count for the somatic cells. Now, what is this antibiotics coming from, and what is somatic cells? Well, just hold on. I'll tell you in a minute. So then this milk is pasteurized and then packaged in containers and go to the grocery store. In the United States, the raw milk is enforced or the rule regulated by individual states, and the interstate raw milk sale is prohibited. Now, the main concern is that does pasteurization damage those nutrients? Well, I dug a little deeper and did some literature search and found out that yes, there is some decrease in vitamin B2 in pasteurization. But other than that, I did not see anything else which tells me that there is any decrease or any damage to other nutrients, at least the literature I saw. Now, what exactly is pasteurization? That is a slow heating at about 60 degrees centigrade or 140 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. And there is a high temperature for a short period of time when milk is heated at 71.5 centigrades or 160.7 Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. Now, I went on the website of our United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and it talks about the milk, and here the slide is exactly copied from the CDC website, which says the pasteurization is the process of heating milk to a high enough temperature for enough time to kill harmful germs in the milk. Then it goes on and says the raw milk has not been pasteurized to kill harmful germs, including bacteria, viruses, and parasites that cause disease. So this slide goes on further, says that before most milk in the United States was pasteurized, raw milk was a common source of illness. So I was very curious and wondering what is really the concern here. Well, one of the concerns consumers have is the hormones in the milk. Now, one of the well-known hormones is the growth hormone, which is given to some cows to increase milk production, what you call BST, or exactly called recombinant bovine growth hormone. It's a lab-made hormone. So I was just so curious, I went to the grocery store and picked up this milk container and tried to look a little closely to this fine prints. And if you look closely at this slide, it says on the top, under the vitamin D added, it says from cows not treated with RBST, with the ester mark. And then the bottom of below that, it says the FDA has stated that there's no significant difference from cows which have received BST and not BST. So essentially, it's the same quality of milk, whatever the FDA has stated. So people, the consumers, rightfully get confused that where this milk is coming from, what it has. Now, where these antibiotics are coming from? Well, these dairy cows, or for that matter, any dairy animal, when they get ill, just like we get sick, we receive antibiotics. These cows receive antibiotics too. So then antibiotics are excreted from the body. Also, part of those excretion happens through the milk. So it depends upon what type of antibiotics you use. Based upon my experience, the most common antibiotics that I have used in these dairy cows, it takes almost 3 days or 72 hours for excretion of these antibiotics, in the milk. So essentially, if you use these antibiotics in these dairy cows, the milk should not be used for 72 hours for human consumption. So that's what it means. So this is why this milk is tested for the residues in that milk processing plant. And then what about somatic cells? Well, it says that it's a mixture of milk-producing cells and immune cells secreted in the normal course of milking. So some of the somatic cells obviously come in the milk because of a normal process, but in those cases where there is inflammation in the udder or mammary gland, what you call mastitis, more somatic cells are secreted and they get mixed in the milk. So this is kind of used as an index for estimating the mammary health and milk quality. So what does it mean? It means that the milk should have, the global standard is that it should be not more than 400,000 cells per milliliter. Again, this is one of those tests done at milk pasteurization plants. Now, I was looking into to see what the research tells us. I looked at some of the data from the state of Wisconsin. Wisconsin, by the way, is one of our top dairy states in the United States. It showed that many of those dairies, which they did the research, had less than 200,000 somatic cell counts in those milk samples. So the people get so confused about all that and get concerned. And they say, well, I'm just going to go and buy organic milk. Fine. Organic milk, as you will find in the grocery stores, costs about 2 to 3 times more than regular milk. So USDA has strict rules about it. So these organic cows, what they call it, cannot be given the growth hormones or antibiotics until these cows get ill. Then they receive antibiotics. The feed which they are given to these cows should be 100% organic. And these cows must have opportunity to be out in the open air on the grass, on the pasture, for 120 days in a year. So what's the bottom line here? Well, the raw milk has no quality test, obviously, and there's a risk of bacteria, viruses, parasites, and things like that. Whereas the pasteurized milk does have a quality testing, and harmful bacteria are obviously killed during the pasteurization process. But there's really no significant difference in the quality of milk, whether it's organic or regular milk, because the USDA's rules tell us that when this milk is tested, it should not have any antibiotics in the milk. So with that, I'm going to conclude this video, and I'm excited to share with you more information on this very important subject of food safety. So until then, I wish you well. Thank you for listening to me. Bye-bye.